Hi guys, welcome to another EUIV 4 video. In today's video I'm gonna mention some minor things that you probably could have missed in the new peace conference system. Without further ado, let's start. So the first thing I want to talk about is actually a bug. Let me show you what I mean. Let's say I'm playing here Ethiopia and I want to conquer all of East Africa. The only thing that's remaining is independent Somalia, which only consists in the state of British Somaliland. But it's very important that this is one state country. Also, this thing happens only if you have the allies, and I'm in the allies with the UK. So let's say I declare war on this country. By the way, look at this guy's name, Max Summit, and let's take them out. Also, for this bug to occur, you have to call in your allies, and they have capitulated. Week has to pass, and here we are, in the peace deal. There was an issue. Your allies would always get score almost as equal as yours. You basically couldn't annex, because you would have one score less. Luckily, this was fixed, and it rarely occurs, so you no longer have to worry about this happening anymore. Let's move on to the second part. The second topic I wanted to discuss is puppets. Let me show you what I mean. I'm gonna attack to Germany, and let's quickly declare war on France. I'm using occupation paint just to capitulate them quickly, and here we are, the France is gone. Obviously, I have to wait for 7 days for the peace conference to appear, and here we are, here's the peace conference. First things first I want to talk about is puppets. Puppets are reworked. Now you can puppet as any country, even as democratic nations, and you couldn't really do that before. Only country I noticed that can't puppet anyone is anarchist Spain, and it's meant to be like that. However, the puppets have changed. Back in the day, you couldn't puppet as democratic nation. As communist or as non-aligned, you would get just puppet, and as fascist, you would get integrated puppet. However, as communist, you would get cheaper puppets, but pretty much worse puppets. However, now, if you puppet a country, they are just a puppet. They're not integrated puppet anymore. However, it takes them only a little bit of autonomy loss to make them integrated puppet. And if they got tons of factories, it's definitely worth it. Otherwise, I would not recommend you to have puppets, unless you really can't keep up with the garrisons. However, if you release country as a puppet, in this case I released Corsica, their autonomy works slightly different, and besides that, it takes way more score to lower the autonomy to integrated puppet. So yeah, what I would recommend you to do, if puppeting costs a lot, just puppet a country in one state, and after that, after taking all of their states, just return territory to them. That way you have a puppet which you can way easily annex and way easily lower autonomy of. As communist countries, however, you still start with just a puppet, but it costs 500 score to lower their autonomy, not 250. And while releasing them as puppets, it's practically the same, so you can release countries as puppets and puppet them through peace conference as much as you like if you're communist. It basically changes nothing. As non-aligned ideology, puppeting works just like with the communist ideology, and so does the releasing of the countries as your puppets. Finally, as democratic countries, making a puppet makes them a supervised state, which you can't ever annex, and they basically get the autonomy until they become free, which is gonna take about 8 months. However, if you annex a country and then release them as a puppet, then there will be an actual puppet identical to the communist and non-aligned puppets. So yeah, if you're democratic and want to puppet somebody, annex them and then release them as your puppet. Not only puppeting, but also changing the government was changed. Back in the day, you could enforce your ideology without puppeting someone only as a democratic country. Now you can do it as any ideology, pretty much. Let me show you one funny example. If you play as anarchist Spain, and if you win the civil war and do all that, keep in mind, you are non-aligned. Let's say that we declare war on Italy, and we conquer them. Now watch this. I can't puppet them because I am anarchist. I can take their land directly. I can liberate other countries even though I'm anarchist. But most importantly, I can change their government. So let's say that I change the government for the rest of the Italy. And guess what? Now they're Kingdom of Italy. Because anarchist country can definitely install monarchies in other countries. Because haha, logic. I thought that anarchism is against monarchy. I guess I was wrong. So yeah, changing the government only changes the major ideology. So yeah, you can make country monarchist by being anarchist. Even though those two things are completely different and separate and opposed to each other, in EUIV 4 they're basically the same. The third thing I want to show you is another bug. It happens only in the Civil War and not always. It happens only if 3 countries or more countries are fighting in a civil war. For example, if fascist and democratic Belgium are fighting, it doesn't happen. But if fascist and democratic Netherlands, which has Dutch East Indies as their puppet, are fighting, then this happens. This happened to me in my British Challenge video. Check it out if you want. Anyway, I'm gonna show you what I mean. Let's say that we're playing as the UK, we went for change in course, organized the black shirts, and now we are below 50% stability, which means there's gonna be a civil war, and here it is, right away. So I'm fighting only the democratic UK right now, which has all the colonies, but I can declare war on their puppets. Alright, so we're in the civil war, we attacked all the dominions, and let's say that somehow magically we get to capitulate the enemy. And here we are, we're in the peace deal. Some countries were untouched, but that's beyond the point. Anyway, what we can do now is take the enemy navy, but let's first take out British Malaya and also British Raj. Also, one bonus tip, when you're in the Civil War, you don't have to take even the slightest bit of land from your enemy, simply because you take all of that at the end of the peace conference anyway. That's obviously only if other factions are not included, otherwise things tend to get complicated. Anyway, you can also take the navy, but you don't have to. Once again, you're gonna get all of the navy for yourself. And look at this, you can take the navy, and the thing is, you can take it again. And you can do it over and over again, depending on how much score you have. The best thing is that you can actually generate world tension by just spending some points in the peace conference. This can become very handy if you need that world tension to justify quicker, to get some war support, or simply to unlock some things that are locked behind world tension. As you can see, I took all of the UK anyway. I took 28 states, but I annexed the UK. That doesn't make sense at all, because those states are only in the British Malaya and in British Raj. And the last thing I want to talk about is once again about the puppets. So you probably are still very unfamiliar with this peace conference, and trust me, so am I, and you're wondering how the hell am I gonna give land to my puppets? Well, I'm gonna show you that in a moment. Let's say that we're the Netherlands, we're fighting Belgium, we got our good old puppet Dutch East Indies, and here we are, they have capitulated. Let's wait for the peace conference because it takes 7 days for a peace conference to occur. Obviously, to give land to your puppet, you have to call them into war, and I called mine into war. And here we are, in the peace conference. I can obviously take land for myself like this, I can liberate other countries with this button, I can puppet countries with this button, and I can change the government with this button. How do I give land to my puppets? Well, I just need to click here, Dutch East Indies, and I can give them other land. Let's give them Rwanda and Burundi in this part of Congo. As you can see, it's actually their color. It's hardly noticeable because we have a very single color, but it's gonna go to them. I really couldn't choose more complicated puppet and overload nation, could I? They have the same color and literally the same flag. So that's how you give a land to the puppet you had previously. So how do I give land to the puppets that I create in the peace deal? Once again, I have to click on the Netherlands and let's puppet, let's say, Belgium. I puppeted them in the state of Wallonie, and I took the Flanders for myself. How do I give them land? Well, I have to go for the option puppet, and here simply not take satellite Zaire and instead supervised state Belgium, which is the name of my puppet, give them the land, submit demand, and that's it. I can ask them for war reparations, but as I previously said in the other video, don't do this after you've done everything else because you're gonna be stuck in the peace conference forever. So let's confirm and exit. Anyway, here's the peace conference. I took Flanders for myself. There's Dutch Belgium right here in the Wallonie, and obviously they own this part of Congo. And this part of Congo in the southeast and also Rwanda and Burundi are owned by Dutch East Indies. So that's how you give your puppet land. And that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. I hope it was useful. If you did find this useful, like the video, subscribe, share it with other players, and if you really want to, join my Discord server. Anyway, that's it. See you in the next video. Bye.